So grateful to be able to be here together. Welcome to Inspire. I'm Reverend Amina Bliss, and so happy to be with you today. We have a great service for you. We have a very special service. We have a guest teacher. Our beloved Patsy Moore is giving the main teaching today. And our dear friend Chris Etscheid has some gorgeous music and inspiration for us. So we are so blessed and grateful that we get to do this together. We meet on Sundays, the second Sunday of the month and the fourth Sunday of the month. And we are still meeting on Zoom for the time being. And I have to say that's one of the blessings of this past year is that we can connect in community because we are a global community and we can be with each other wherever we are in the world. And so I'm just really happy that my mom and my sister are here. They're not in LA. Annalise is in Poland. We have friends from South Africa and all over the world. So, we can just keep sharing this love globally. And I just invite you to tell your friends to join us, invite people, no matter where they might be. If there's folks that you think would enjoy being with us and be supported by our message and our sharing, spread the word. Let's get more people in this vibration of love. So please do that. I want to also let you know, so I was actually going to say on second Sundays, Reverend Alfreda Lenoir is our usual speaker. And on fourth Sundays, it's Reverend Jesse Brune Haran. But as I mentioned, we have Patsy Moore today filling in for Reverend Jesse, and we are really grateful and happy about that. So the other thing I want to share with you is that we have a newsletter that you probably received in order to get the link to this meeting. And we're looking for folks who would like to share. If you want to have an essay or a poem that you'd like to put in the newsletter or a blog, send it to us. If you'd like to share at service, if you'd like to read something or sing something or play your music, we're really looking to have even more community involvement. So artists and writers, we welcome you. Please let us know that you're interested. And I know we have quite a few talented folks in this community, so don't be shy. All right, I also want to share with you about our prayer ministry. If you have a prayer request, please send us an email or send us a note in the Facebook group and we will pray for you. And you can connect with each other in the Facebook group and we can pray for each other and hold our intentions together there. It's a great way to connect. If you're new today, we have a blessing for you. Really, it's a blessing for everyone. And so we raise our hands to you. We welcome you. So we say, welcome to Inspire. We know who you are. You are a beautiful and unique way the divine is expressing itself on the planet. We see you, we love you, and we welcome you home. Welcome to Inspire. We're going to get started with our meditation and prayer. So if you'd like to just get comfortable in your seat, if you're holding anything, you can set it down. Allow your eyes to close, your arms and legs to uncross. Just making yourself an open channel for spirit to flow through. Take a nice, long, slow, deep breath. And gently let that go. And another long, slow, deep breath of love and gratitude. And exhale everything that came before this moment. Just allowing any concerns or worries to gently float away. And as we continue to breathe and relax, we visualize a small ball of bright white light rotating clockwise in the center of your chest. This ball of light is about the size of a tennis ball, and as you place your attention on it, it begins to expand. Beautiful white light is filling your chest, flowing up past your shoulders into your neck, filling your head. White light flowing down your arms into your hands and fingers, moving through your torso, past your hips. White light expanding and flowing through your body, down into your legs, filling your thighs, your knees, your calves, into your ankles, feet, and toes. Your entire physical body is one with this light. Every bone, every muscle, every organ, every cell, atom, and electron of your being soaked and saturated in this brilliant, beautiful white light. Take a moment to breathe and feel the effects of the light on your physical body. This light is restorative, it's rejuvenating. It raises your vibration to its natural state, the high frequency of divine love. The light continues to expand beyond the body into the auric field, creating an orb of light 3 feet all around you. The light expands to fill the room you're in, the building you're in. And this light cannot be contained. It floods out of the space into the street, uniting every single person. Expands into your neighborhood, your city, your country, your continent, seeping into the ocean and instantaneously enveloping the entire planet, uniting every living being. Collectively, we see the planet surrounded and enfolded in this light. We recognize our oneness and our divinity. We're one with perfect love, and that's all that we can be. So there's nothing to do, there's nothing to prove, there's nothing to earn to accept this light, this love. You are that. And we just allow it to be. And so let's just take a couple of moments in silence, breathing in the light, breathing out the light, and sending love to ourselves, each other, and the planet. Mother, Father, God, divine love, infinite intelligence, all that there is, how grateful I am to join together in community today, our beloved, inspire spiritual community, opening ourselves up to divine love, unconditional love, peace, freedom, and joy. Knowing these qualities are God's qualities and there are qualities. Every quality of God is a quality of you and me and every living being. And so we give thanks for this. And we let go of anything that would keep us from believing this, from knowing this truth. We let go of anything that would block us from being fully present here and now, available. We're so grateful to know that love is all there is. God is all there is. And we're celebrating that today with a brilliant service. We know that it is perfect. We know that it is blessed, that everything happening here is in divine order. And so we bless Patsy and Chris and everyone who speaks and shares, everyone who is here, everyone in our community who is not here. We bless us all. We are so grateful to remember that we are one, that everything is perfect, unfolding perfectly for our highest good. And we get to share the benefits of our time together with everyone because we are one with them. In grace and gratitude, we allow it to be, and so it is. Amen. And I'm so happy to welcome Reverend Tom Hennessy to do our mission statement. Reverend Tom.
Good morning, everyone. On this nice May day here in LA. Mission statement. You can say it along with me as I say it. Inspire is a spiritual community of like minds committed to walk out joyous fellowship by demonstrating the power of love, compassion, and non-judgment every day in every way. Recognizing the divinity of all life, we stand united by actively liberating humanity by healing judgment, fear, and shame within ourselves. Our intention to create world peace, piece by piece. Woo-hoo! And now it's my great pleasure to welcome Chris Etscheid for his nice musical performance. Chris, take it away.
Thank you so much, Tom, and hello. Good morning, everybody. All of you beautiful, beautiful souls. I'm so grateful to be here and joining you all. I just very briefly, I can introduce this song. It was birthed out of everything we all went through last summer, which was the longest 10 years in a single year of our lives, I'm sure, for everybody. George Floyd's, the anniversary of his death is this coming Tuesday, and this song was largely inspired by all of that tragedy from last year. And I'm very honored to be able to share it. This is a video of the first run through we did together, my writing partner and I. His name is Andrew, and he has been featured playing beautiful, lush piano on other songs that I've been able to share with all of you in this beautiful community. And we've workshopped some of the lyrics and are recording a studio version right now. But since that is not ready for me to share with you all, and it's such an important message and a wonderful song, I think I am happy to share this version. And I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you. Oh, and it's called Save Us Now. Thank you.
Why are we waiting for someone else to understand? I'll give you strength when you're frozen, just take my hand. We're silenced in fury, abandoned with worryful hearts. We march on together to fight what could tear us apart. Fueled by a billion lights, lead us through the night.
Thank you all very much.
Chris, thank you. That was so gorgeous. You never fail to move me with your music, with your voice, with your heart. Just really so grateful for you sharing this with us.
Thank you so
What a
much.
blessing.
It's such an honor to share it. This is the first time I've shared this, and I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So let us all try to recover here. Let's take a moment to let's just take a moment. Just take a moment. Let's have a moment of silence to just breathe in and feel this moment. Feel our connection with each other, our oneness, our shared purpose. We are so blessed. All right, thank you. So, as I mentioned, it is a very special day. We have a special guest speaker who is our Inspire's own beloved Patsy Moore, spiritual practitioner extraordinaire, amazing musician, writer, and performer. And we're so grateful that she's speaking today. Patsy Moore.
Thank you, Amina. Chris, my brother, my friend, that was so beautiful. Thank you. It's good to be back with you, beloved community. Shortly after Reverend Jesse asked if I could fill in for him this morning, I learned that the theme for the month is trusting the process, or trust the process. And so much immediately came up for me about what I might be able to share this morning with the assistance, the wisdom of spirit traveling through. And not the least of which was, I'm not going to read the entire section, but I'm going to read a subsection of a beautiful book. The gorgeous writer and teacher based in North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, Alexis Pauline Gumbs, recently had a book published entitled Undrowned. And the foundation of the book is really quite poetic and stunning. Alexis is looking at the world that exists underwater, the lives, the behaviors of sea animals, more specifically of ocean mammals, and finding life lessons for us all through their activities, through the way that they are being metaphors for living. And in the 14th chapter, which is titled the thing that I want to talk about today, it's titled Surrender. She begins with these words: "And what happens if we just let go? Like dolphins who beach themselves on shore to eat and trust the tide to bring them back into the water, or who time their birth cycles to seasonal floods, or migrate across the world following warm currents on a menopausal planet. What it would take to tune in with our environment enough to be in flow with the earth instead of in struggle against it. Inspired by the evolution of the extinct prehistoric Leviathan melvalli, so-called sea monster ancestor of the contemporary sperm whale, from the being with the largest, sharpest teeth to a being who uses those same teeth not to kill or even to chew, but to listen. I wonder if we, or the species that comes after us, can turn our weapons into weather vanes in time. Most black and white dolphins live at the shoreline. They collaborate to push sardines out onto the sand and then follow them to eat, stranding themselves on the beach for a while and then letting the waves take them back. Could I trust myself that much? and remember to breathe? Here on the shoreline, could I know in my gut that my home will reclaim me, that the dry spells will end, that the risk we take together are worthwhile impermanence, because indeed we are vulnerable to SeaWorld opportunists, and sometimes we do get caught up. I am learning to trust myself here at the shoreline. I am grateful to all of my collaborators for showing me that we can be out of place and better for it. We can trust cycles older than our species. We can do this between work with grace and surrender, with patience and bravery, with all of who we are. And what made us will reclaim us as soon as the tide. My love to all of you, multiple and hungry, navigating these contrasts of ocean and air. I bow to your impulse to risk the familiar, to learn something else and then bring it on home. And most of all, to you who hold home in your hearts for me. Let's just take a moment, close our eyes. Just a few seconds of silence, hand on the heart. And consider, before I go forward, what it is we most recognize as an area that is demanding our patience and is asking us to surrender. Much of what I will share and suggest to you this morning, the ability to move it from a place of theory to a place of practice requires a few things. It's conditional to a certain extent. Not conditional in the sense that it's unavailable to anyone, but conditional in the sense that to take those actions, we must first believe certain things. And so I will tell you the foundational beliefs that I have that lead to being able to explore in this way. The first is that I believe that in ways that I don't possess the intellect, the understanding to fully grasp, but that I feel in my deepest parts, that I feel in my heart of hearts, that my intuition, my gut, the spirit within tells me is true. I believe that I and you and all beings, all things that ever have been, are now, and will be, started in the imagination of love. I believe that love is a thing that made us. I believe love is a thing that continues to make us as part of our experience in this place at this time, as part of our overall experiment, which I believe to be the exercise of recollection, remembering the truth of who we are beyond the realities we experience. I believe the truest thing we will ever know, the truest witness we will ever bear, the truest activity in which we will ever engage is based on a foundation of love. A higher presence, a higher intelligence that is driven by benevolence. I believe that even when we don't feel it, we are held in a safe place by that being, by that power, by that intelligence. And I also believe that since we are the descendants of that thing, we are born of it, we carry its DNA within us. The very stuff that makes up the stars and makes up you and me and the shelf behind me and the kitty cat behind the door, all of that information, that energy, that beingness, that thing that connects us and calls us into being part of the all, the one. I believe that because that is our DNA and that we carry the qualities of that thing already. They are our birthright. They are running about through our cells and in the oxygen that we take in and in the pumping of our hearts. And where there are presets, there is a pre-installation that's based on the fact that we carry those things. And what those presets have ensured is that there is no thing, no circumstance, no situation in which we would find ourselves that we do not hold the capacity to weather. No seeming problem that is unsolvable. No ailing part that is incurable. But none of that means anything if first there's not some part of us that can believe it and hold to it as the truth. And secondly, know what that then calls us to be and how it calls us to act in any given situation. The most powerful ancestral power we have, thing that serves in the destructive process of creation. In other words, there's nothing that is being created that isn't simultaneously destroying something, that isn't simultaneously pushing away those things that are not serving us well. One of the strongest powers we have is surrender, because it's attached to the one constant we know, which is change. And our ability to accept what is and to accept what might be, even when we don't have the sensorial capacity to see it, to trust even that the things that happened before that we didn't understand, that felt chaotic, that left us confused, that may have left us in pain, that those things are inextricably connected to whatever purpose we might have the willingness to pull from it. All of those things are dependent upon the change that is happening as a result of them, rather, is dependent upon our ability to accept what actually is, was, or will be as simply what is. To know that the past and the future are in fact at different stages the present. The only thing we are called to be is in this moment, in this presence, and to surrender to it. It is one of the most difficult things for us to do as human beings. We're generally, historically, not very good at letting go. We're not really good at non-attachment. And why is that? What is happening, even though as we look back through our lives at some of the things we thought would be our death, the things we thought we would never survive, the things we thought we would never transcend, the hills we thought we would never make it over, and yet here we are on the other side. Why is that not enough for us? Why is that not enough for us to believe that that will always be true? Even though we have a lifetime of stories that prove it, why do we suddenly become amnesiac when the new challenge arises, the new opportunity arises to step fully into the truth of us, to step fully into our power, our medicine, our magic? Why is there some level of resistance that occurs despite evidence that we are cupped in a loving hand, that we are supported by a benevolent universe, that we are capable, that we are strong? Well, in a lot of spiritual teaching, a thing that we'll hear is it's the ego, but let's make it less esoteric and let's kind of bring it into our space, into that the space that we occupy, the realities that we occupy. in the culture in which we find ourselves, and I know that there are people who are watching from other places in the world, but generally speaking, for those of us who have grown up as part of Western civilization, Western enculturation, there is a lot of emphasis placed on, quitters never win and winners never quit, and you fight till the death, and see what you want and grab a hold of it and don't let go. And anything that is not perceived to be following that line of thinking is seen as, well, this person's unmotivated, or this person's lazy, or this person doesn't care enough about what's important. I'm not saying that there aren't people who are unmotivated. I'm not saying that there aren't people who have not comported themselves in such a way that they are taking the necessary steps, guided by wisdom, to get through their life in a manner that issues in less suffering. But one of the reasons that I think we suffer so much from this in Western civilization is because of that whole strong Protestant work ethic thing that's instilled in us from, the beginning. And if not in your actual home, certainly in society. It is itself an imbalanced perspective based on imbalances in energies, specifically masculine and feminine energies. We all possess them. We possess both. But it's clear to us in a world that is largely patriarchal, in a society that certainly is, in a society that puts more emphasis on work, 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 than take care of yourself, rest, be still. We see clearly that there is an abundance of masculine energy, not in and of itself bad, but here's what it does. The masculine energy within us is an activated energy. It is a doing energy, and it is necessary for the completion of task. But what is the feminine energy in us? The feminine in us, the divine feminine within us, is already familiar with the notion of gestation, with waiting on process, with what is required for me to birth this thing, to bring this thing into being. So from feminine energy, we have first imagination, the start point of all that we create, our ability to envision it, our ability to see it, to see the possibility of it. That's connected to our feminine energy. The ability to imagine the thing, to see the possibility, the affirming possibility, and to set intention toward it. And then secondly, and most importantly, to begin the surrendering process required to reach it, the gestation, the 9 months, if you will, the planning, the sitting, the being still, the taking good care to protect the dream. And if we immediately leap from, I have an idea, to I'm doing it by my own steam, by my own power, purely, without waiting for that time in which I can download the necessary wisdom to accomplishing the thing, till I can prepare properly for the birth. So I am prepared for what's required when I go from the holding of the thing, the holding of the child idea, to the actual mothering and nurturing and caring for of it, contributing to its evolution, to what it will be once it leaves me and makes its way into the world. It's so absolutely necessary for us at all times to remain in balance in terms of our energy places, so that the full process is being put into action, not just parts of it. We live in a really interesting time, technologically speaking. We are able to reach massive numbers of people very quickly We are able to get our message, our stuff, our projects out there quickly. We are the most positioned we have ever been, for better or worse, to have, as Andy Warhol prophesied, each of us our 15 minutes of fame. And part of what that and the fast food drive-throughs and the broadband and high-speed internet and all of these things that have convinced us that faster, faster, faster means better, better, better. Part of what this has instilled in us is the temptation to not sit and wait for anything, to not be patient. So it's great that the internet, for instance, has in so many ways democratized societies. It's allowed the voices of the many to be heard. It doesn't necessarily mean, though, that everyone is bringing value to a situation. It doesn't mean that things are, that, you know, all 10 million things versus 10 things that are being thrown out there are uplifting or helpful or well executed. It just means they can get out there faster. They can reach people faster. One of the things we've lost in our technological development is the ability to be still, is the ability to trust the entire process, to trust the entire narrative arc, the beginning, the middle, the end. Most people are rushing to the end. I was watching a video recently. A father was teaching his daughter how to draw a butterfly, and she was frustrated, right? He drew the butterfly, much like my dad did when I was a kid, and he was teaching me to draw. He drew the butterfly, and then he said, this is the practice drawing this. And she was frustrated because in her first few tries, her butterfly didn't look like his butterfly. And he was trying to explain to her that his first butterflies didn't look like that butterfly either. That the point in practicing, the point in familiarizing herself with the process, getting more comfortable with the process, trusting the process, is that one day she would be able to have a butterfly that looked like his. She might even be able to have one that looked better than his. But she had to understand that there was a process that led to that. A certain amount of faith that says, I can actually get to that end place. A certain amount of trust that says, I can trust that since that's working, I don't have to rush to anything. We are so controlled, and I'm speaking to myself in this too, because it happens a lot. So controlled by arbitrary timelines. This has to be done by this time because what? Exactly. Because I'll feel better about myself, because they will see me a certain way, because this will prove X, Y, or Z. Why? Why? This isn't a teaching about not working toward anything. It's not a teaching about throwing your hands up in resignation, but it is about a particular type of resignation that serves us well. That is actually a form of self-care. Surrender is itself a form of resignation. One is resigning oneself to the truth that all things are always changing. So even the thing that I seek to create is not itself permanent, and the joy should not come from any sense of its permanence, what it will be to posterity. The joy should come from even being alive, to have the experience of participating in the creative process. And it's all creative process, our thoughts, our actions, all of it. So back to Alexis Pauline Gumbs discussing this particular whale. Could I trust myself, she asked, as much as these black and white dolphins, excuse me, not whales, black and white dolphins trust themselves to live at the shoreline for the amount of time they have to in order to produce the result they seek? Could I, in that time, remember to breathe, to breathe? This practice of breathing from a place of consciousness and commitment is essential. That breath work is essential. Can I trust myself enough to care enough about the thing that matters enough to me to invest myself in it, to breathe deeply through it? Can I trust that? Here on the shoreline, can we know in our guts that our homes will reclaim us? Can we know in our deepest parts that the love that made us and that we are downloading all the time in various methods, the love that's expressed in the work we do, the love that's expressed in the other beings with whom we relate, the love that's expressed through nature, constant reminder of the beauty that is everywhere if we just are willing to open our eyes to it. Can we trust that that love is always standing there, not only dwelling within, but standing even beyond us and welcoming us back to itself? Can we believe that we are headed home, even when the path has gotten dark, we fear we may have made a wrong turn, we don't recognize that barn over there or that sign over there? Can we trust? Can we trust that we are still being welcomed home? Can we take the risk that we need to take together, she asked, and see them as worthwhile impermanence? Worthwhile impermanence. The things I can't seem to keep my grasp on, the things that seem to be eluding me, the things that seem brilliant and powerful and buoyant and beautiful in a moment and then seem gone in the next. Can I trust that their leaving is not the equivalent of me losing? Can I trust that I never actually can lose anything? I ask that again. Can I trust that I will never actually be able to lose anything? Siddhartha Gautama Buddha is quoted as having said, "You only lose what you cling to." What does that mean? It means that in the thing you are clinging to that is already programmed to be more than itself, to be expanded, to evolve into a thing that gets us closer to where our heart desires to be. We're not giving it permission to be what it needs to be the thing that thrusts us forward if we're holding on to it, pulling it down, restraining it. What is the foundation of that? What is the thing at work in us that is constantly self-sabotaging, that is not allowing things to enjoy their full gestation, not allowing them the growth and the evolution that's happening in that gestation period, the thing that seeks to get to the end quickly? I would submit to you that that foundation is fear. Fear is that little thing inside of us telling us it won't be waiting for us if we take too much time to get there. Somebody else will get it. There's not enough for everyone. There's not enough to go around. I should take it now while it feels like it's in my reach, because if I wait, it might realize that I'm not worthy of having it, and it might leave and go somewhere else. Fear. Fear is a liar. Fear is consistently an impediment. Fear tells us that we need to hold on, when in fact, our salvation often comes from being able to let go. In the message that we've come to know throughout time as the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus of Nazareth says to the crowd, in the King James, it's recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 28. In the King James Version, it reads, "And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, they toil not, neither do they spin." The World English Bible translates it as, "Why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They don't toil, neither do they spin." I am actually speaking to you right now from our studio / reading room, and you can't see it, but right over there, there's a window right beyond the recording desk, and it looks out onto these beautiful tropical plants, and the hummingbirds love it there. They feast there constantly. I love that that window is there in a place of conscious creation, because when I have moments where I feel stuck, or I feel like this is, I'm not doing a very good job of expressing this the way I'd like to express it. I don't know if it's in me. Maybe I should let this go. And I look out and I see this plant life and these birds and the cats that seem to be obsessed with our backyard and all of this activity. And I see this knowing that they possess. There's nothing guiding them aside from nature itself, the wisdom of their nature, directing them, saying, this is where the nectar is. This is where the shade is. This is where to bloom. And all of these parts of nature functioning as their preset would have them function, as those pre-installed attributes of a creative universe would have them function. And they're not asking questions, and they're not shaking their fist at the sky, and they're not scared that there isn't going to be enough, because they live in the present and they live in the built-in knowing that all that they will ever need is provided for them. I would invite you to believe that from the moment your heart is pricked by desire, the very second it shoots into your brain and you say, that's a thing I want. That's a thing I desire. That's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. In that very second, the universe, which only knows how to create and say yes, has made that desire manifest. And what we're doing from that point on is trying to get ourselves in attunement with spirit, in alignment enough to see exactly where it's located and how we go about accessing it. But we don't have to work so hard to make it happen. It's already been done for us. What we are working on is the condition of our hearts, the condition of our minds, to be receptive to what has already been granted us, to be able to open our hearts, our hands, our minds to what has been granted us simply because we desired it. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 62, reads, "Surrender exclusively unto God with your whole being. By God's grace, you will attain perfect peace and the eternal abode." Eternity is not the hereafter. Eternity is a thing that has no beginning or end. This is eternity, my friends. We are existing within the eternal realm right now. And what Spirit is asking us to do is to know that a peaceful abode that we seek is already here. It doesn't happen after we die. It doesn't happen after we check off all these blocks. It doesn't happen after we seem pious and good enough. It happens when we accept that it is, when we can see it. It's that thing of like, you know, opening a cupboard and like, I knew this thing was here. I just put it here and I can't find it. And it's actually right in front of you. I would invite you to see our blessings, our gifts, the desires of our hearts as those things that are there. They're not hiding from us. They're not malicious. They are there saying, here, take me. But if we're not looking in the right place, we don't see it. And unfortunately for us, and the way we have come to function in terms of our relationship with our five senses, if we don't see it, if we don't feel it, it must not be. That's our fear speaking. Surrender and change. Change the constant, the one thing we can depend upon at all times. Surrender the vehicle that allows us to rest comfortably in that change, knowing that it doesn't seek to bring us harm. It's seeking to help us step fully into who we are, fully into our God self, fully into the truth of love. In surrendering, we are asking love to reclaim us, to bring us home. And I ask you now to consider how willing you are to surrender. How willing are you to stop feeling like you have to pull all of the strings, you have to engage in all the machinations and manipulations, that you have to make it happen? What use to you is a God if you must do God's job? The Spirit of God dwells within you, flows through your brains, in your brains, your veins, calls you its own, molded you and is molding you ongoingly. Can you trust that? Can you rest in that? Can you surrender to that? Thank you.